Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katina and I am the creator of Live Life Learn. I created this channel because I am currently on a debt-free journey and I wanted to share my experience with everyone. So if you're interested in starting a debt-free journey and you want to know what that is like, this is the place to be, where I share my experiences. I'm honest and transparent. I share my ups and downs. I share my struggles and success. So thank you guys so much for being here. So I am back with another video, and I know it's been a little second, okay, more than a second, but it's been a while since I've made a video. My last video was about how I paid off my car and how excited I was about that, and I finally got my title in the mail, so I'm super excited and it's official. I own my own car. But that's not why I'm here. I am here to bring you guys a new topic today. That is a current situation that's happening in my life right now. And I just wanted to share with you guys this issue, this topic, because I think it's very important. And it's something that we all go through in life. And I feel like just offering up my experiences and how I'm dealing with this matter will be quite informational to you guys and also to myself as I travel on this journey of interruption. So thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. First and foremost, I want to get that out the way. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching my videos, and I also appreciate your comments and just simply taking the time to watch my sometimes, most of the time, long video. So as I had mentioned earlier, I've been gone for a second and I have a good reason why, y'all. You know what? I have a story time for y'all that is very current right now. And I wanted to share it with you. And so this story time coincides with this topic of the video, all right? So I want to talk about life interruptions. So the topic, I'm going to speak about life interruptions and how to recover from financial setback when things happen in your life. That, of course, that has kind of temporarily put a halt on things. So if I am not speaking loud enough, housekeeping rules, please forgive me. I'm trying to speak as loud as possible in my little mic, and you guys will know in a second why I'm not speaking as loud as I could, or what's going on with me for real. So anywho, back to this topic of life interruptions. So here's my story, my story time story. So what happened was, and what's going on right now, is that, you know what, you guys, I started my debt-free journey. It's going to be a year, the end of June, okay? The end of June would be my 1-year anniversary for my debt-free journey, all right? And I'm really excited that I have been hanging in there for almost a year. I've made a lot of progress. I've had some slowdowns and I had some setbacks, but all in all, I'm very pleased with my progress and I'm very grateful. So while on my debt-free journey, and here's the story, okay? Here's the story that is relevant to right now and this topic. So I was doing really well, y'all, on my debt-free journey. I was paying off my credit card debt. I was building the emergency fund for the family. I was creating thriving funds and saving goals. I was investing in the market. Also, I was focused on my budget and I was keeping my spending in check. And if you're wondering why I'm looking down, it's because I have some notes on my laptop and I did not want to forget anything. And I wanted to really bring this all home and just make it clear to you guys what's happening, okay? So with all of that happening and all of the progress I was making, I was super excited. But then my life was temporarily interrupted, okay? There was a temporary interruption going on right now with me and my husband as well. And so it's been a whirlwind. However, so this is what happened, okay? Let me get to the point. First of all, our AC unit went out, okay? Our AC unit went out and we knew that this day was coming, okay? We actually knew that this day would come about a year or two ago. However, we were piecemealing this AC unit together, okay? with a Band-Aid. And that Band-Aid was Freon. All right, we're calling a heating and cooling company out here just to pop Freon in it for a couple of $100. But y'all, this time, this AC unit was like, no ma'am. I'm done with y'all. For real. I'm done. And so we can no longer just simply call out the company for them to put some Freon in it. We need an entire new system, okay? And y'all, it's not summer yet, but it's very humid here in St. Louis. If you live in the Midwest, if you live anywhere remotely near where I live, it's very, very humid. Now, I personally don't complain about the humidity because I hate being cold. So, but I don't know what it is. I feel like this humidity is extra humid. And so the AC unit went completely out. And initially, it wasn't that bad because we were having cool nights still. So we were able to maintain things with the windows being open and things like that, and the nights being cool. It was okay. All right. So here we are going along. Cool nights, but hot, but the humidity started to pop off. It got really hot quickly, very, very humid, very fast. So I was like, oh my gosh, we need to have this new unit. Like, we need an entire new system. And so I had started saving back in March aggressively for an AC unit because I did not want to finance it. So if you guys are homeowners, anybody a homeowner know that an AC unit is expensive. It is not $100. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's thousands, okay? It is thousands of dollars to get an AC unit installed. So it costs about $3,500 to get this AC unit installed. And so back in March, we got a quote, and I started saving aggressively for this AC unit, right? Because I knew, you know what? I just knew that this was going to happen, right? My husband, I knew was going to somehow just quit. And he quit, okay? It wasn't giving us nothing but hot air, all right? And so in the midst of all of that, child, and while I have been gone, in the midst of all of that, my husband and I got COVID.
Wow.
Oh my God, you guys. We did all we could to avoid getting COVID. We really did. Okay, we did. Okay, but we got COVID anyway. And so we are in the recovery phase right now, trying to get past this moment, this little interruption we got going on between our AC being down, was down. Okay, we got a new one installed. And now having to deal with COVID and recovering through all of that. And so it's been over a week. I had my second test done today at Walgreens, and I'm just waiting for the results, okay? We're both feeling a whole lot better, thank God. I'm so grateful, but we're still having some lingering, like, little side effects that we know it's going to pass. My son got tested 3 times, and he was negative all 3 times, and I'm so grateful to God for that he never got sick. So I want his immune system and his bounce back, okay? I want that kid's immune system to bounce back again. But he's doing very well. My husband and I were coming out of things, and so as a result of the AC unit and us getting sick, we had a temporary life interruption, which caused a problem in our cash flow. So I had to think about how we were going to get back on track, all right? I began to immediately think about how can we get back on track. And as a result of that, thinking about that, I started to plan our recovery while I was down, okay? I started planning our comeback, our financial recovery, while I was just in the bed, out, sick, okay? And then I realized this gave me a moment to reflect, and it also gave me a moment to think. And sometimes when I ask myself, like, how am I going to do a thing? I realize for me, I eventually not do a thing. I just don't do it for some reason. It just never happens. So instead of asking myself how I was going to recover or how we were going to bounce back from this little financial setback of our cash flow, because it became a cash flow financial setback, I started to think of how, what plan do I need to put in place for us to get started on our recovery process, right? On recovery, because, excuse me, we had these additional expenses, all right? So outside of the AC unit, paying for that $3,500 out of pocket, which was fine because I did save the money up for that and had a little bit of an overage too. So I was excited to know that I could just simply go by the bank and get a cashier's check. Pardon me. I need a lot of water. So it was good to know that I could, and it was a peace of mind too, to know that I could just simply go to the bank and get a cashier's check and pay for this AC unit and not have to finance it and not have to worry about no damn monthly payment. So I was excited to do that. So I was prepared for that. However, what I was not prepared for with this illness was cost associated with getting sick, right? So what happened was I had prescriptions I had to get to help me maneuver through this phase of COVID. I have asthma, and so I had to get like 3 different prescriptions because of my breathing, right? And so that's why I might sound a little bit winded, and I need this water all the time. So forgive me if I am all the time. But I had to get these prescriptions, and that was an additional cost and things like that was unexpected. So again, all of these things created a temporary life interruption, and it also created an interruption with our cash flow. So I just want to jump into 5 quick tips on how to recover from a financial setback and get back on track. So these are some tips that I would love to share with you guys. These are the tips that I am using to get back on track with cash flow, and I'm excited that I was able to think about these tips and put them into motion. All right. So tip number 1. Excuse me. Tip number 1 is that you want to assess what caused the interruption. All right. So for us, it was an illness. All right. It was an illness that caused this temporary interruption in our cash flow. But there are other things too that can cause a temporary cash flow interruption in your life, such as job layoff, reduction in your work hours. It could be family emergency. It can pretty much be anything. And what I've learned from this process is that any little thing can temporarily interrupt your goals. It can temporarily interrupt your plans, your life plans, your financial plans. And so I learned quite a bit from this experience, and I'm happy to share with you guys. So those are some things that, that can cause a cash flow interruption, and it's important to assess those interruptions, right? I think it's important to kind of focus on what that is and how you can maneuver your way through. So why does assessing the issue matters to you? Okay, why does it matter to me? Well, you want to take a deeper dive into the matter. And basically taking a deep dive into the matter will help you come to terms with the interruption, right? And it's going to help you think about solutions and getting back on track. So when we were diagnosed, I was taken back, okay? I really was. I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? This sucks. This is trash, because I knew that I was not going to be able to work. So I'm salaried, and my part-time job is hourly. And with those jobs, they don't have any compensation with those part-time jobs and things like that. My husband is salary as well. He's in a union, but the construction industry is different. Is very different. If you don't work, you don't get paid, okay? That's how the construction industry works. So I had to think about solutions and getting us back on track, right, financially pretty quickly. So what I had to do was step 2, and this moves us into tip 2, is I had to review our budget and I had to review our savings accounts as well. So if you find yourself, what I've realized is that if you find out that with these life interruptions and these financial setbacks, you find out it's going to cause an issue with you financially, I think what's important to do is you want to take a peek at your budget, look at your cash flow, and then you want to reach out to your lenders and your creditors, and you want to let them know that you're having some issues, and you want to try to see what kind of payment options you have available to you so that you won't have any derogatory late fees, or you won't have any kind of late statuses on your bill. You want to see what it is that you can change around with your creditors and see what they may have available to you, as well as your utility companies and your phone companies. You want to reach out to your utility companies and your phone companies, your cell phone companies, on how you can reschedule your actual bill dates, right? So a lot of those utility companies and phone companies will work with you and reschedule your dates. You can make payment arrangements so that you won't get behind in your bills, so that you won't have any kind of late payments on your fees that you accrued. You can work with those companies. They're really good and flexible in that way. And so it won't have a negative impact on you. You can also negotiate like with your creditors, especially the credit card companies. And I'm not saying that this works with all of the credit card companies, but it works with many of them, because I can attest to that. I'm a witness to that. Is that you can request a reduction in your interest rate. And some credit card companies will do that for you. They will reduce your interest rate, and it will make it a little bit easier, right, for you to pay your bills, okay? And you also, again, want to review your savings account, and you need to see what kind of funds you have available into the bank that you can leverage on your most important bills. And what I mean by your most important bills, you know what your most important bills is, right? And that varies from person to person. So that will be your housing needs, your rent, your mortgage, your utilities, your phone bill, your food and things like that, your essential bills. You want to see what it is you may have available in the bank savings wise that you can leverage on those bills, right? What is it that I have in my bank or at home stashed away that I can put towards these bills to reduce any sort of additional financial burdens, okay? So that is tip 2. And tip 3 is that you want to go ahead after you've done tip 1, right? You've done tip 1, you did an assessment of what caused the setback, right? Tip 2, you reviewed your budget and your savings accounts. Now, tip 3 is when you want to go ahead and start to plan your financial recovery, right? So you want to look at it, all right? It's time to plan your financial recovery, and that's where I'm at right now. So you want to do one of the things you want to do is develop a recovery mindset, if I can get my words out, okay? Develop a recovery mindset. This is so important. You want to make sure that your mindset is on point. You want to make sure that your mindset is in a good place, because oftentimes when you have these setbacks in your life, your mindset is out of whack, okay? It's out of alignment with your goals. When you have these financial setbacks or whatever setbacks you may have, your mindset tends to fall out of alignment with your goals, and you need to somehow get those back in alignment with one another. So in my case, what I am doing, I developed a recovery mindset, all right? I decided to think about, okay, girl, it's time to plan your recovery. It's time to plan your way back on track. And so I started to think about what I want my recovery to look like, right? You want to think about, hey, Katina, what do you want your recovery to look like? What is it that you want to see happen? And so I started to jot down those things that I want to see happen. I started to jot down what I want my recovery to look like, right? And the other tip is, or the next step in under that tip, is to set a beginning and an end timeline and or dates. So with me, as I started to plan my financial recovery and think about what I want my recovery to look like, I started to plan my start date and also my end date Timelines are very important to me, you guys. It has really helped me out with achieving my goals. To write those things down and to have a start date and an end date has really helped me to achieve my goals. It has helped me to get to my milestones in my debt-free journey. So it is important to establish those dates so that you can have an accountability. You want to have a level of accountability, and so having start dates and end dates will help facilitate that process, okay? And then after we moved on from tip 2, you want to grab a notebook, all right, and you want to start writing out your plan. Oh my gosh, you guys. Writing out your plan is super duper important. Now, it's important to me, and everybody's different. Some people write their plans out. Some people use their phones to, track their goals and their plans. Some people use, maybe Excel or Word on their computer to track their goals. So whatever works best for you. So what I find that works best for me is I like to grab a notebook. I like to grab my planner, my notebook, and I like to start writing my plan out. Because I'm very visual, I just simply like to write things out so that I can see it myself. And I also use my computer. I'll use like my Excel spreadsheet or whatever to also track those things in Excel too. So I kind of do double duty, and I compare the two to make sure they line up with one another. So in the process of writing out your plan, you want to engage yourself during this phase. You want to ask yourself questions about your plan, right? Basically, y'all, you want to have a conversation with yourself about your plan, okay? And that's what I have been doing. I have been just like writing my plan down and engaging myself just to make sure that my mindset is where it needs to be, and that I'm getting my mindset, moving my mindset back to my goals, my original goals, okay? And so you simply just, this does not have to be difficult at all, right? Hold on, y'all. Okay, hold on. It does not have to be difficult, this whole process. You want to write a clear, simple plan, a detailed recovery plan consisting of how you can make extra money, okay? And you want to talk about or think about in your planning phase, besides making extra money for your budget, you want to reorganize your budget. Because oftentimes when we have a life interruption as it relates to our financial cash flow, you have to reorganize your budget. You have to go in, look at your budget, and do a little housekeeping, a little house cleaning, a little shifting of bills around and things like that. So we want to reorganize your budget, and you also want to focus on reducing your spending in this planning process, right? And you want to get some rest. I say get some rest because I feel like this is very important to get some rest as you go through this process of recovering, because you want to have a clear mind, you want to be well rested, and you want to make sure that what you put in place, right? You want to have a good foundation for your mindset, right? So that your ideas can grow. So you want to get that rest for recovery so that you'll be ready to execute your plan. So again, write your plan out, a simple plan, a detailed recovery plan. You want to think about how you can bring in extra income if that's available to you, if you have the time for that. You want to reorganize your budget, reduce your spending, and you want to get some rest so you can be ready for the recovery phase. It is very difficult to recover from anything without getting proper rest. And in this case, I mean physical and also a mental recovery, right? So be sure that you do those steps as well. And then for my final tips, tip 5 is that you want to know the end at the beginning, okay? You want to know the end at the beginning, and you want to start to activate your plan without delay. So you want to see your financial recovery success, right? And that's what I mean by knowing the end at the beginning. You want to go ahead and see your financial recovery success while you're going through the process. Just look at it from a holistic point of view and just think about your success as you maneuver through the recovery phase of your financial, interruptions, right? So you want to think about, this is what it's going to look like, right? This is what things are going to look like as I maneuver through my recovery, right? It's like a positive affirmation for yourself, and you want to think positive about what things are going to look like. Now, it's going to be hard work. It will be some work that you have to put in there, but it's important to kind of think about what your success is going to look like throughout this process. And I think for me, you guys, that's very motivational, is to think about like, hey, this is what my success is going to look like. This is where I'm going to be actually as I maneuver through this process and when I get to the end of the process, right? So whenever you achieve a line item in your plan, also, you want to celebrate that moment. So after you realize what your recovery process is going to look like throughout the process, whenever you achieve a goal in your comeback plan, you want to celebrate that moment, right? You want to go ahead and celebrate that moment, give yourself a round of applause, get you a good coffee or whatever it is that's within your budget to celebrate that milestone, that success. I feel like it's necessary to celebrate your milestones and your success because it's going to help you keep going. It's going to keep you motivated. It's going to keep you looking towards your goal, all right? You're going to see the broader picture of it all. You're going to see your success. So don't forget to celebrate your milestones and your success throughout this recovery phase, okay? And if you stumble during the recovery, it's okay. All right. It is all good. You're still here. You're still here. So if you by chance stumble, and we all stumble and fall, you just want to get back up again, dust yourself off. You might need to take a break, like a little mental break. That is perfectly fine, but don't let it be too long. Okay. And you want to review your recovery plan and keep moving. So just know and understand through this process of recovery, you may stumble during the process, and it's all right. It really is all right. You just want to be sure that you get back up again, review your plan, and keep going. So the takeaways from all of this, you guys, our experience through this moment of life interruptions, this temporary life interruptions, and this financial cash flow setback, what I realized is that I had a moment of reflection for this whole week that I was out of work. But I say that if you're a mama, your work never stops. Your work never stops, okay? Your work just keeps moving. And that was the case with us, is that as parents, you just never stop moving, okay? Those kids be there, right? But the takeaway for me in this process was that life is full of interruptions, okay? You can't avoid life interruptions. They're going to happen. And it's important to acknowledge that you have these interruptions, right? And that it's also important to rest your mind and body so that you can recover. You can start doing, you're planning your recovery, right? You have to get that necessary rest so that you can start to plan your comeback, right? So that's what I'm doing right now. I have been sleeping like crazy. I've been sleeping so much, you guys, and I've had an opportunity to think about my recovery and how that was going to take place, right? And so I feel very energized mentally and planning my comeback, my financial comeback. And also, you want to feel inspired, okay? You want to feel inspired as you go through your recovery, your financial recovery. So when interruptions occur, there's always a lesson for you. As I've learned, there was plenty of lessons for me, which can produce inspiration, revelation, and strength. So don't get discouraged when you have these temporary, I like to call them temporary life interruptions, okay? I like them, they're just a bump in the road. They're just temporary, all right? Don't be discouraged. Try not to be, because there's always greener grass on the other side. The sun will shine after a while, okay? The sun will rise again, right? So just be inspired, all right? Receive the revelation that this moment has for you, and also harvest the strength that you're gaining through these temporary life interruptions. There are some amazing lessons to be learned. I've learned some lessons throughout this process, okay? And I'm sitting with those lessons, I'm acknowledging those lessons, and I'm just absorbing the lessons that I learned as I travel through my journey of comeback. Also, lastly, you want to take action, right? Action is so important. Now, you guys, being down and out with COVID is no joke, okay? Everybody's different. Everybody experienced symptoms differently. For me, it was more of a respiratory situation and some fatigue. My husband experienced a lot of fatigue. I experienced not so much fatigue, but I was just more of my issues are more upper respiratory with some fatigue, but not as much as my husband. Also, you guys, I lost my taste and smell, which is trash, okay? I am just sitting here and can't taste a damn thing, okay? Can't smell shit. The only thing that I could really taste is spicy foods and salt. And also, what else can I taste? Yogurt, right? And some fruits. But for the most part, my taste and smell is on a temporary break right now. But they'll be back, okay? They'll be back. They're trying to come back. But they'll be fully back pretty soon, okay? So, in the midst of all of that, and that's a bummer in itself, and I've been struggling with that loss of taste and smell mentally, okay? Because it just seems funny to me. So, in the midst of all of that, I still have to take action. I made a conscious decision that I was going to take action anyway, right? So, I really needed to know the end at the beginning. I established that with my mindset. I said, hey girl, listen, you got to know the end at the beginning. And I started to see my end at the beginning of this financial comeback. So I changed my mindset. I created my bounce back plan, was part of my plan of action, which includes budgeting, reviewing my savings plans, and reviewing my savings accounts. And then I put the plan in motion ASAP so that I can take control of my recovery. So all of those things are important with the 5 tips that I provided. I am here. This is where I'm at right now. And I just wanted to, share that with you guys because I wanted to be transparent. Because you know what? This is really the first financial setback that I have acknowledged, to be honest with you. And I just wanted to be honest with y'all about how just little things in life, one thing, like one thing in life can really throw things off. It can temporarily derail your plans, whatever those plans may be. And for me, it interrupted my cash flow. It interrupted my cash flow. And so I had to reorganize things and I had to think differently about how I was going to do things. And more importantly, rest well enough so that I can focus on getting back on track financially. So I'm in a good place with my mindset and my goals on getting back on track. I've already, got my plan in motion. I've already taken action on my financial recovery and cash flow recovery. Thank God no bills were, delinquent. I'm grateful for that. But with that being said, I still, had to deal with this temporary life interruption that caused a financial cash flow setback. So I hope these tips were helpful to you in recovering. I hope that you learned something from this through my experience of having this cash flow setback because we had gotten sick. All I can say is you just really have to acknowledge what's happening and realize that there's always an alternative. There's another pathway. There's another route. And the sun will shine and it will rise again. So thank you guys so much. I'll make sure I put headers in here for the tips, the 5 tips that I provided. I hope this information was helpful to you guys. I'm about 35 minutes into this video, and I'm just glad I made it through it, considering the fact that I'm recovering and just trying to get things back on track again. I'm hoping as we start a new week that I will be 100% better and ready to make new content for you guys. I have a lot to share with y'all. I have a lot of good information that I want to provide, and I'm going to make it my business to have a schedule for these videos because there's so much I want to share. And sometimes you can get so busy in life that you just get distracted, and that was another issue of mine. So I was doing so much with working and trying to stay on course and trying to stay on track that I just got tired. Okay, I got tired, I got sick, AC went out, but now it's cool in here, thank God. The system is running really well, and we're getting past this COVID phase, and we're in recovery right now. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. I will have a weekly word motivator for you on the next video. Right now, my mind is ready to just move on. I feel like I can't think anymore at the moment. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I wish you guys well. Make sure you take care of yourself mentally and also physically. And you guys have an amazing day. Until next time, bye-bye.